you intend to travel to Australia unvaccinated? Do you have the right type of vaccination to be allowed in? Could you be assessed as a biosecurity risk to this country and have your visa cancelled? Hold that thought for a moment. Honey, did you get your second jab yet? Oh, great, you did. Now I can take this silly stuff off. Hi, I'm Karl Konrad, the founder of Australian Immigration Law Services, and today we're going to cover that hot topic, thanks to you-know-who, of travelling to Australia without being vaccinated and what are the requirements. Also, what are the vaccination types that are acceptable? Australia's entry requirements are now being closely scrutinised and in some cases harshly criticised by the global community due to our famous visitor now sitting in detention hotel after having his visa cancelled. Is he a biosecurity threat that needed his visa cancelled? Many like myself would argue that of course not. However, today is all about what the government rules are and not my opinion. Remember, none of this has anything to do about visas being granted or not. It is about trying to enter Australia whilst unvaccinated, and if you are vaccinated, of the approved type. If you're planning to travel to Australia, the government requires you to be fully vaccinated with a particular list of approved vaccination doses, which you can see here on the screen. Now, if you have these approved chemicals running through your bloodstream, you will be fine to get past border security. If you do not, then this is what you need to demonstrate. Many of you will be surprised to learn that even if you're an Australian permanent resident or an Australian citizen and you're trying to enter Australia, if you are not fully vaccinated, then you fall into a category of a potential biosecurity threat and will be assessed like any other temporary resident trying to enter Australia. Remember, there is no such thing as applying for or being granted an exemption to travel Australia without being vaccinated. There are simply guidelines on the department's website only. No exemptions for this can be granted before you travel. According to the government, the only acceptable reason you cannot be vaccinated is a medical one. If you cannot be vaccinated for medical reasons, then you will need to provide proof that you cannot be vaccinated for a medical reason. And who are we trusting to screen out these dangerous biosecurity threats to Australia? Well, it seems the various airline check-in staff around the globe. Yes, you did hear that correctly, the check-in staff. According to the Australian Immigration Department website, it states airlines are responsible for ensuring your proof meets these requirements. Now, don't get me wrong, I love check-in crews. I trust them 100% to ensure I get the right seat and that my bags arrive with me. But really, biosecurity and medical requirements? You must be sort of kidding. This is what the airlines, the ones responsible for keeping Australia safe, have been allocated for checking. You must be able to demonstrate a medical contraindication record in the Australian Immunisation Registry, and you can show your digital certificate to airline staff. Otherwise, you can show your immunisation history statement. So what is a medical contraindication? Good question. I had to look that up also, and to be honest, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. According to the internet, that wonderful online encyclopedia, it is a specific situation in which a drug or procedure or surgery should not be used because it may be harmful to that person. Usually there are two types of contraindications. One is the relative type, which means that the caution should be used when two drugs or procedures are used together. For example, many people who are undergoing chemotherapy for cancer treatments cannot get a vaccination shot due to the risk that it may impose upon their already significantly reduced immune system. Then there is the absolute contraindication, which means that an event or substance could cause a life-threatening situation. A procedure or medicine that falls into this category must be avoided. In these cases, if you have a serious side effect from taking a particular vaccination that would make it life-threatening, then that would fall into this category. So essentially, if you're not recorded in the Australian Immunisation Record Database, you will need to show airline staff medical certificates that indicate you are unable to be vaccinated with an approved COVID-19 vaccine because of a medical condition. This medical certificate, however, must be in English, and it must also include the following information: your name, which of course will match your passport, the date of the medical consultations and the details of your medical practitioner, and the details clearly acknowledge that you have a medical condition, which means that you cannot receive a COVID-19 vaccination, which means a vaccination contraindication. Now, it does not say say anywhere on the department's website that you need to demonstrate these documents again to the immigration department when you arrive in Australia. Still, it seems evident now this is what you must be prepared for when you land at an Australian airport. It is advisable that you bring these documents with you so the border security people can clearly understand what the medical condition is and why you've been unable to be vaccinated. Now, the problem can occur. You are relying on immigration officials, not doctors, to decide whether the documents you are presenting meet their requirements. Most would agree a far better system would be if you're able to apply for an actual exemption before you arrive in Australia, so there cannot be a potential argument on whether they will let you in or not. Unfortunately, the visa cancellation procedures carried out at the airport are not transparent. Most people do not take their cancellation issues to the courts, and thus the public never find out what actually occurs. Now, what if you're an Australian citizen or a permanent resident and you have somehow managed to slip through that airline scrutiny and arrive in Australia without details about why you're not vaccinated? Where will you end up? Will it be in some underground bunker or a tent in the middle of an Australian desert? That, my friends, will be the topic of another video. For now, the world #1 tennis player has challenged the system, and good on him for that. Immigration policies and guidelines need to be challenged when they are not clear or transparent. Nobody deserves to be locked up or had their visa cancelled simply because they may have misinterpreted website guidelines. We hope you found this video useful, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to be notified of our videos every week. We place more information on our Facebook page, so join us there as well. If you need tailored advice about your circumstances, book a time to talk to us on Zoom, Skype or the telephone. You can book an appointment at australiavisa.com, and whilst you're there you can get to know more about the services we provide. As always, take care out there, and I'll see you next time, so bye for now.